Welcome to Financial Investing Radio, where you'll learn the secrets for consistent, high-probability returns in the financial markets for additional income to change your life. Grant applies consistent, high-probability trading systems for the financial markets. He's only recently started sharing these tried and true market secrets. As a gift to listeners, Grant is offering his roadmap to high-probability financial control. Go to financialinvestingradio.com and download yours today. Now, here's your host and trading veteran, Grant Larson.
Hi, everybody. This is Grant, and welcome to another episode of Financial Investing Radio. I'm very excited about what we have in store for you this time. I'm very excited to welcome back Stephen Sweet. I'm hoping you had an opportunity to listen to the previous podcast. Stephen shared some incredible things about his background and his journey and the things that he's learned through that process. As Stephen and I talked about this some more, we come to discover that Stephen has found some solutions to the kinds of problems that he was describing. But I don't want to give those away. I want to get started here today and first just say, Stephen, welcome back.
Hey, it's great to be back, Grant. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks again for taking the time. And we were just talking about the markets here before we got started. It's as of this recording, it's June 6th. It's been a very bullish week this week in the markets. We were talking about some of the different characteristics of traders and how some trade more of the stocks in a bullish environment, some go more to the futures in a bearish environment. When you and I were talking in the previous episode, there were some challenges that you had recognized or you had observed in traders over time, right? That with all the years you'd been involved.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's quite
personal as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Same here. Been there. Yeah, been there, done that. Some of those included things like inconsistency in trading. You've seen that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think another one you'd mentioned was indicators, maybe not using indicators or sticking with your trading plan. You recognize that, right?
Yeah, that's a common violation as well.
I know here's one that I've been guilty of, over trading, especially when I get in the futures. You've seen that. I'm sure you've experienced that yourself.
Yeah, markets, when they move big like this, like they did today, on the upside, they kind of chug a little differently. They a little slower, but they're again, the action is there. And on the downside, of course, it goes faster. But people that in some cases get overconfident as well and start to overtrade because they're excited. So that is common.
Yeah, okay. And then another one that I think you pointed out, and I've certainly been guilty of, is letting emotions drive my trading decisions. You've seen that, of course.
Oh yeah. And emotions are something that every single trader, myself included, been at this for 30 plus years. And the person that just starts out, it's something you have to contend with. You have to deal with. You have to learn to manage it. And it's still there. But, as you get more seasoned in this and practice and have the right ways and more disciplined, you can suppress that emotion, and actually, focus on, the trade at hand. So it can be done, but it's a huge challenge. You're right.
So that's a key thing you point out, as I think about the wide range of problems you've observed, and I'm sure there's been others, but when I think about that, given those problems, and you had just hinted at, this kind of problem can be overcome. What did you do to overcome these problems? Have you found solutions to these? What did you do to address this?
Well, I did. And the solutions became making this as mechanical as you can, and practice and, going over indicators and recognizing what's happening in the marketplace with your indicators. It tends to give you a lot more confidence. And once you have confidence, part of that emotional drive subsides a little bit because you're not as anxious, if you will. That anxious side of emotion comes out.
So you're saying confidence sort of has this ability to eclipse emotion a bit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I believe that 100%. And the confidence thing is the thing that most traders let's put it this way, a lot of newer traders lack because, they're still unsure. They're trying things. They're looking at indicators. They're trying this, they're trying that, they're trying different market conditions. They haven't boiled the whole thing down to a trading plan, a systematic approach, a mechanical approach for themselves that they can understand and witness what's going on in the market. So they haven't got to that level yet. So they will constantly contend with this emotional roller coaster because I've heard it many times before where guys go, I tried that and that indicator worked for a while, and all of a sudden that indicator doesn't work anymore. So I'm on to another one.
Right.
But again, it for me, it became more mechanical, breaking things down to what was happening in the marketplace, and then finding those tools that I need to really confirm what I see that is happening, and that led to much greater confidence.
All right, so it's learning to be methodical. It's having things in place to create confirmation. That builds the confidence. Then is that right?
Exactly, and all the time suppressing the fear and greed emotions in there as well. But again, the more confident you are, and you've practiced, and the more confident you are with what you're doing, you're going to find it a lot easier to deal with that emotion. Simply.
So is this a system you've created? I mean, is this something you use yourself, or how does this take form or shape?
Well, it isn't a system per se. I mentioned in the first time we met a couple of weeks ago, and that was basically my background was engineering, and that's where I'm very methodical myself.
I see.
And I had to find out all the whys and wheres and hows, what was happening in the marketplace. How was it happening? Why was it happening that way? And I basically, after trading on the floor, basically I want to get in and find out, all right, what tools can I assemble that will give me information? And then what method can I employ? That is understanding all included as well, that I can actually see this and count on seeing this, or count on market action that is in line with what I'm seeing. So it was basically putting the machine together, so to speak, for the first gears and winders and batteries and electrics and wiring, putting the machine together that way so that I could build that machine. I understood exactly how it worked. Now I can actually utilize that machine. So, and I think everybody out there, well, most people that I know, they want to build that machine. They go, they'll buy a book, they'll go to a course, they'll go to a seminar, whatever they're going to do. They want to build that machine. And in some cases, the machine is already built for them. And in a case of a system or a methodology that somebody else would actually recommend for them. But they don't understand the machine.
Yeah. Well, I like the metaphor of the machine in the sense that to me, it implies some level of objectivity, right? To sort of take some of the subjectivity out of it. Therefore, I'm looking for something to give me this unbiased view of how things really are. Is that what you've created?
Yeah, you talk sports. There's all kind of metaphors and analogies you can draw, but for baseball, we all see the guy hitting the ball. He's going to single, he's going to double, and this and that. But and we're looking at the swing and what have you. But there's mechanics to this whole thing that has to be studied and understood before that batter can be anywhere near the consistent level that he needs to be. And be able to pick the spots where he wants to place the ball, for example, or you want to do a pop up or a line drive or a grounder or whatever's going to happen. There's a mechanical thing that has to be done. You have to understand that, how that swing works and why it works the way it does. That gives him his consistency. And this is the type of thing that I profess and we profess at Zaner when we're teaching this or mentoring, if you will. You have to understand that mechanic, that process that makes it happen. And the more you know about it, the better off you're going to be able to succeed in it.
So do you mind peeling the onion back and talk about some of the components of this machinery?
Yeah, the machinery, I'll introduce it. It's a program called Pathfinder.
Okay.
That we put together 4.5 years ago now. And it was at the behest of management, of course, Matthew Zaner himself at Zaner. And we were trying to find a way to give our clients some more value. It's always important in a business. And that value would come in the way of trade recommendations, for example, which a lot of firms do. And, people say, oh, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to buy gold here. I'm going to sell the S&P here. Well, they were just taking that information, and some of them would do something with it. Some of them won't or didn't. So we started thinking about it, and I brought my 2 cents into it. And I said, being a trader and listening to traders and working with traders over the last 17 years, working with an educator down in Florida. And I said, there's something missing here. And that is, we can give them value that way on a trade recommendation, but they still don't understand it enough. They're not confident in it enough, to actually place it. Some people would. They would take a flyer. So I said, there's got to be a way that we can show value here and really give them good value. And this is how you can do something like this. Is how you can take this trade. This is why you should take that trade. And this is why it may be good for you or why it may not be good for you. So Pathfinder, as the name would imply, was basically put together to, show people a way to get to their goal, the path. And everybody has to find their own path.
Is it the trader selecting what the goal is, or are you giving guidance on that, on, the right goal selection as well?
Yeah, well, everybody has, when you ask them, what their goal is, it's to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, but that's surface stuff. I mean, yeah, we all know that. We all are in here to do that. But, their goal, we try to focus on, putting together a trade plan that's personal to you, who you are, where you live, what time you rise in the morning, what time you like to trade, what markets you like to trade, and why.
Oh, I see.
What style of trading that you like, how do you actually feel about risk? Have you been there before? You get nervous, why? We start digging into a lot of this to be able to build something, a machine that will fit for this client. He may be using a series of indicators already, and he's been, either not successful or moderately successful, or, spot on and then spot off. And, you hear a lot of that. You make 1,000, lose 1,000 the next day. That's not good. They're all striving for consistency. But it's an individual thing. You and I, Grant, we could sit down. You've got experience in this business, and I have too. And the way we view things, could be somewhat different. On the surface, it may look the same way, but inside, the way we view it and how we understand it can be somewhat different. So, what we do with Pathfinder is to sit down and really, really work with the student from the foundation level and start talking about things like this and getting them comfortable with sharing those bits of information so they can hear it.
So, Stephen, is this for someone that's already been trading, or would you take on someone that's brand new and try to help them, learn the right way to do it? Or what's sort of your best description of who this is really intended for?
Well, actually, it's for any level of trader. All right. It is a little harder with traders that have been doing this for a while. One thing we all have to deal with, of course, and this is ego. And, some students, have come and they've been frustrated for trading for months and years. Mm-hmm. And they're looking for another way, listen to another voice, mm-hmm. read another book. And so we get them as well. Newer traders, they're fresh out of school, if you will. They don't have a lot of negative experiences, if you will, So you might say that they might be a little bit easier, a little bit more of an open book, but it's for all levels of traders.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Is this, how would you characterize this as being different from you'd mentioned other solutions out there. Is there some unique characteristics that sort of causes it to stand out, that discriminates it from others?
Yeah, it is. There are quite a few, and we've had comments on this from a lot of individuals when they first hear about this, even the individuals in the business, because Pathfinder it's not trying to teach a system or a methodology, something that may have been developed and tested and by, an educator or another trader, and then boxed up as, hey, this is the answer. Do this, you're going to be successful.
I see.
We're not doing that at all.
So someone could come to you with their own system and say, help me be more effective at it. Is that kind of?
Exactly.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's where we're at, because to us, it doesn't make any difference what indicator you're using, what groups of indicators you're using, how many you're using, what markets you're trading. None of that matters to us on the surface because, we're gonna help you understand those tools, yourself. So we're not teaching, hey, do this, red light, green light, buy when it does this and sell when it does this.
So it's someone trading stocks or options or futures. I mean, it could be anyone trading any kind of market. Is that right?
Absolutely. I've worked with personally. I've worked with a stock trader one time, and it's the same thing. I mean, we're analyzing the market condition, aren't we? Whether it's stocks or whether it's a stock option or whether it's futures or it's foreign currencies, FX.
Okay.
So I mean, it's the majority of people that we speak to in Pathfinder that are interested in this, they've used a system or methodology, and a lot of them have merit. Like I said before, they're good, but the difference is the individual applying it. And maybe about 20% of people that would go to a course or even a top level course on trading, in our opinion, would be able to benefit from it and actually do well at. That's a small return, and it's not because of intelligence or anything like that. It's just we're different a little bit, so we explore a lot of that, and we want to get you to the point where your confidence builds and your anxiety subsides. And we always say, go ahead.
So I was going to say, so you talked about investment and the return. What does it take for, how much investment of time does it take for someone to go through Pathfinder? What is that like? Like if, let's say I do it, is it a 3-week effort? Is it a 3 months? Or can you help quantify that?
Well, Pathfinder's done it in small bites. And we start from the very beginning in small bites, so that you can understand, digest, if you will, and really understand it. So it's not quick. And what a candidate may do is they say, okay, well, I want to sign up with Pathfinder, and we'll typically work with them every other day over a 30-day period. And there's a reason for that, because we want some time in between. There's homework, things to study, things to reflect on, and then come back the next day or the other day and begin again. And we do this over the course of a 30-day calendar, which means we'll probably get together 10 to 12 times during a 30-day period.
Oh, I see.
Right now, not everyone is going to grasp at the same level. And there could be other questions, or maybe they say, you know what, I really liked where we got with this. All right, I'm really happy. I'm going to play with this a little bit, and I may come back to you. And can we take another refresher course or an advanced course, or take me further down the line? Absolutely. Then they sign up again for another 30 days. We do that, whether that's the following month or the month after that. And the beauty of it is we develop a relationship, with the person.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it sounds like you organize it, obviously, on the needs of that trader or that investor, right? However long it takes, I guess, right, to learn. Because changing the way in which I gain that confidence and I'm able to overcome, the emotional pressures, that's one of the hardest parts. So it may take me 3 months to do it, but someone else might do it in 6 weeks, I guess, right?
Yeah, and everybody's different. And like I said, it's not something that has to be completed. It's like, when you go to a seminar or read a book, for example, when you're done, you're done. Mm-hmm. Right, that's it. And an impetus for this Pathfinder program, I think I mentioned it to you. I don't know if it was offline or not, but I worked with an educator for 17 years, and I wasn't part of his education team, but as a representing broker, where all those students were doing business through us, I was witness to all, so many courses, 3 a year, 17 years. Wow. And the educator and I, near the end, he would say, I know, and he would express this. He says, probably 25% of you, will have any success with this. And it was a fabulous approach, a very, very sound approach. But he was right. Now, what would happen is after the course, people left. They're done. They paid their money. They're done. They had 4 or 5 days, whatever it's going to be. And they would invariably call him. They'd say, well, I was in your course, what about this now? This situation here, I'm trying to do this, but this is not happening here, da-da-da. And he'd spend some more time with them.
Okay. So you don't let them apply it for a while, and then, they have fresh questions then.
Yeah. And the thing that was missing, and he helped with the impetus of this thing too, it was a little bit of ongoing guidance and coaching. They already had the methodology. Now they needed practical application of it, understand it more, see it in action, and see why it works or why it didn't work.
So,
That was the piece that was missing.
yeah, so one of the key things, of course, is about any methodology that they might bring to is the whole risk management side. A lot of traders struggle with that. Do you include as part of this some sort of curation or helping them to improve, maybe even modify some of the risk management aspects, not just their own confidence in applying, but maybe there's some techniques that you learn as well that you can share with them? Is that ever get addressed?
Absolutely. It's 100%, because it's very critical that you have a real good handle on risk and risk management for yourself personally. It's gonna color and flavor everything that you're doing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it leads into that competence thing. I mean, one of the things that this one educator had told me a while back, he had this little ratio, if you will, on a trade that he was spotting. He says, "Oh, this one is an 80-20 trade." And what he meant was there's an 80% chance that this is going to work out per my indicators, 20% chance that it may not. All right. Then he'd say, he'd look at another trade. He goes, "Yeah, so look, this is a 70-30 trade. Little less chance of it succeeding, but nevertheless, not bad."
Yeah.
70-30. Well, I listened to that, and I watched that, and I said, you know what? It should actually be read the other way. This is the 20-80 trade. All right. Because it has a lot less risk because of what I've studied with the indicators, things should work out. Still there, but a reduced amount. All right. Yeah. If it's a lesser trade, maybe one of the indicators isn't as strong as the other one, okay, well, it's a 30-70 trade. It's got more risk now than the 20-80 trade.
I'm glad you shared that. I had a professional trader say one time to me, "Hey, Grant, don't be making your investing and your trading decisions based on profit potential. That is the path to failure. Rather, make your decisions based on the risk potential and let that guide you." It sounds like you're saying a similar thing.
Exactly. Remember we were talking about Vegas, right? You're in Vegas, you're walking down the streets, you hear all the bells going, people laughing and drinks and all this other stuff. Well, that's the potential, right? And you're drawn in by that. Another guy's walking down the street, he goes, "Yeah, but I know what the risk is. The risk is I'm probably going to lose." So he avoids the situation.
Right.
Or he puts a plan in action, says, "I'm going in with $200 and that's it." So it's a form of risk analysis as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's such a critical component to this. So you've applied this for, sounds like 4.5 years. What impact have you seen Pathfinder for on traders, right? That have gone through. What's been the effect that they've seen?
Well, overwhelming with all the traders we've got that are participating with us here as pro traders and coaches and mentors in the program. We always do follow-up calls with, the graduates, if you will, check on them. How you doing, and we all collectively agree that the students or graduates, if you will, seem more at ease and not as anxious. Because, speaking to someone when we're all caught up in the moment in trading and the anxiety levels are higher, what have you, you can hear that. You can actually hear the breathing as well. It goes up. And the graduates themselves have fed back to us that they feel more confident about what they see every day in the markets that they're trading. And this is really key. They become very picky about the trades they take. Very picky. So in other words, they calm down. They're looking for that opportunity. If they don't see it, they're not taking the trade. Why?
So they develop some patience, which is one of the problems.
Right.
Wow.
And trading volume has gone down. And that's a good thing for the client. Because, we're in the brokerage business, but you don't want to see people just burn themselves up, gambling around and just, or what it would appear to be gamble. That's not good. You do your best to try and help them.
Right.
And so when I say trading volume goes down with these guys, it means that they are being very picky. And that's gratifying.
Well, that creates a long-term relationship with a broker, with yourself.
Oh, sure.
So those are some critical elements. What other elements haven't we talked about that are key components of Pathfinder that you'd like to share?
Well, Pathfinder itself, it's really about, the highlights, if you will. It's about developing first a trading plan. We talked about that earlier, and that encompasses a lot of things. The individual's ideas, their lifestyle, markets to trade, time of day to trade, personalized risk assessment and management, things like that, among other things. That's something that's unique to this because that has to be done. The other thing that we show people to do is, again, we talked about this earlier in another manner, but market recognition. Learn to recognize market condition quickly, and we help the traders select a group of indicators. Could be their own that they're currently using now, or suggestions on other indicators that they can read and understand. Not that I can do or that I practice with, that they can read and understand. Homework assignments. Guy says, well, I'm using the MACD, I'm using a Bollinger Band, and I'm using whatever indicators they've got. First question to them: what do you know about those indicators? What did they tell you about what's happening in the marketplace? So they have to bring that to the table so that they understand what they're looking at, what these indicators are showing them. And the other two things are really emotional control. We strive that every student is going to try and develop a quiet confidence that is based on factual information that they're deriving from their own analysis of the markets and the market's condition, and then how that all fits in your trade plan.
Yeah, that's what I like about what I'm hearing is it's got this ability to be applied to any trading system or any trading methodology, and then you fine tune it to the situation. Have you had a situation where you just felt like someone wasn't able to even make the adjustments, right? And is there a certain personality of trader that at some point you just say, you know what, maybe this isn't for them?
It's an interesting question because I have had experiences like that where, it seems like it's being understood what needs to be done, but there's an overwhelming urge, which is an emotion, with some individuals that's too overpowering, within the first, say, 30 days for them to overcome. And that is to gamble or to make an assumption. I always tell people, trade what you see, not what you feel. And what you see is what's on your indicators there. But, a very common trading technique that the basic trader learns right away is, buying on breaks and selling on rallies, and buying on reversals. The market kind of recoiling a little bit. That's when you buy. Little things like that. And it could be right in the middle of discussing something. He's getting it really, really good and understanding. He goes, he says, no, I won't be doing anything now until the market pulls back down to this level. All right. It has nothing to do with the indicators, but it's an old habit to break to say, I would say to him, why? Well, because I don't want to buy it up here. Why not? Well, I want to wait till it comes back here. I go, well, what makes you think it's going to? So, well, I can't buy at a new high. Why not? The market's made 10 new highs, maybe in the last hour as it's gone through there.
Right.
Somebody's doing it, but those old habits of, buying back, I'm not going to buy here. I'll wait till it pulls back. That's an assumption, and that's not something you can read into your indicators.
So it sounds like one of the key qualifiers for this is that the person has to come in and admit, right? Hey, I'm willing to make some changes, right? And I realize I'm going to have to maybe drop some baggage, right? And some baggage.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's personal because everybody's going to handle the information a little bit differently and themselves. And we take all the time it needs. This is not a test. It's not something that you have a pass or fail on or anything like that. It's an engagement. It's an exploration, if you will. I guess I pretty much said before. It's basically it's spending time with someone that knows where you are, knows where you've been, and can give you some information, some guidance on that. That's all. It's
Nice. Okay.
it's personal.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Well, are there other, before we wrap up here, any other key components or characteristics you want to share about this?
Well, there is a lot more to it. Now, the key ones that I mentioned, are what our targets are. The trade plan, of course, and then learning to read indicators properly, that you can actually read them and understand them. The emotion control, and then the risk management. Those are the key components we think that every trader must have a good handle on.
Mm-hmm.
And we expound in those areas and get plenty of time to go over all those areas. It's not, so as I said earlier, this is not a time sensitive thing. We may spend an entire, session together for an hour, for example, online, looking at screen shares, looking at his screen, our screen, and listening to him. And maybe that whole day session for an hour or more, maybe just talking about risk, or, maybe his own emotions or where he's been. So it's I don't want to say it's a confession thing, but it's, you kind of get things out in the open so you can really address that part of trading. Because quite frankly, Grant, and everyone out there listening, 90% of this is you. It's not the tactical indicators.
Yeah.
It's not. It's you, and how you see it, how you feel it.
You are the market, right?
You are the market, and everything that you have that you put in it is you. It's personal. So how you read it, how you address it, how you stand by it or stand away from it, that's all you. And we're all taking risks. Some of us deal with it a little differently.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I was meeting with a collection of options traders last night, and we were going through a panel. And one of the other coaches I was working with started throwing out these opportunities on the market right now, right? And of course, was asking everyone, in the room, what's your opinion? What's your bias, right? Which way is it going? And of course, as you would imagine, the opinions were everywhere, which ultimately that is the market, right? It's what how you position. So
that's right.
Understanding how do I establish bias and perspective seems to be such a critical part of this. And I'm assuming you look closely at that in Pathfinder.
Absolutely. It's so critical because we've all done it. We have to control our emotions in everything we do in our lives. We're exposed to different things that will excite certain emotions with us. And there's going to be better at it than someone else. So, but yeah, I think it can be learned and it can be controlled. And I think that also, as I mentioned earlier, that transcends into confidence. And that's what you need. You need to be a confident risk taker, not a willy-nilly guy, confidence based on what you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, guys that are buying, selling businesses, the billionaires out there, they have a confidence about them. They're not always right, but they've done their homework, their due diligence, and then they take their risk. They know what the risk is. They assess the risk.
To put how they to end up putting enough probabilities on their side so that overall, they win. Well, Stephen, this is really fascinating. I appreciate you taking the time to go through this with us today to explain some of the key characteristics of this. Any parting words before we go?
Something I coined a while back, and I think it's important for everyone to know, education is your key to trading success, right? In many different areas of education. So, and I also said, seek relationships with persons that are successful doing what you want to do. Find a mentor. Mm-hmm. I will tell you that the majority of us on the inside here had that opportunity over the years because we were there. So we had not a personal mentor and coach, but we were there. We were watching it happen. We could lean on people. So find a mentor. Education is your key to trading success. Love to hear from some of your audience out there if they have some questions for me on the side as well.
In fact, how would they do that? How would they reach out to you?
Well, they can email me, which I think a lot of people feel more comfortable with. Email is simply S as in Stephen, and then SWEET as in sweet, my last name, at Zaner, Zaner.com.
So S Steven, so two S's, right? One right after the other. So S Sweet at Zaner.com. Did I get it?
Yeah. Yep, that's it. Or they can call me at directly. I'm in Chicago. I'm in the office usually from about 8 till about 5 or 6 or so during the week. It's 312-277-0109. And anybody wants to have a free, no obligation, no rush, no sales presentation, a little consultation, be happy to spend some time with them and to see if it might be a good fit for them, something they may want to try.
I'm fascinated to learn more about it. Thank you so much, Stephen, for taking the time again. I appreciate that. And everyone out there, thanks for listening to this episode. Feel free to reach out to Stephen for any questions that you have. He just shared his information. Thanks for joining. And until next time, trade safe.
Thank you for joining Grant on Financial Investing Radio. Remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Don't forget to download your free roadmap to high probability financial control before you make an investment decision. Visit financialinvestingradio.com now.